Hi, I'm Carol O'Mara, horticulture entomologist with Colorado State University Extension in Boulder County. Today we're going to look at how to prune our grapes. These are wonderful perennial vines that get really woody and everybody likes them, but the problem is without a little bit of love and an awful lot of abuse, these things are going to start taking over your garden and they're going to start growing out of control. So what we're going to look at today is how you prune these big vines. First thing you want to be aware of is that there are several parts that you can work with a grape plant. There is this woody trunk that we train out to grow into cordons or arms. The second thing is last year's growth, which is a shoot. This is the part that the grape will go ahead and produce fruit on. It's always going to be in the first year of growth that shoot produces fruit. At this time of year, as buds are beginning to swell, what we want to do is cut back these shoots so that we don't have too much vine and not enough grapes. That's the goal of trying to bring these back into line. So we're going to stand back and get the right tool for the job. These are hand pruners. These are Felco number 2, but you can use Corona, you can use Fiskars. There are a lot of really good pruners on the market. The most important thing is to make sure that they are bypass pruners. You see this blade here? This blade will go past the bottom or the anvil of the pruner, and when you're working with a woody plant like this, you want that to make a clean cut. If it's an anvil pruner where it comes against this bottom plate, it'll crush the wood, and that's not good health for the plant. So you want a good set of hand pruners, and then what we're going to do is we're going to stand back and look at our arms. The goal is to take each one of these shoots and cut it back to just 2 buds. So we have a spur at that point. So we're going to look at this and we're going to pick out the shoots that we're going to cut back. On this arm, you can see here we have a number of buds coming out along the shoot. So what we're doing here is we're cutting it back. One of the secrets to being successful in pruning your grapevine, take a look at the shoot. We have all of these buds all along here. Normally, when you go to cut a woody type plant, the rules say that you have to make your cut 1/4 inch above that bud, which I guess would be in this direction here. But with a grape, once you make that cut, it's going to dry back a couple of inches. So if you were to cut just above the bud like this, what's going to happen is, as that vine dries back, that top bud is dead. Instead, what you're going to do with a grapevine is you're going to make your pruning cut right in the center of 2 buds, allowing it to have that space that it needs to dry back without compromising your living bud. So we're going to go back to these. We know exactly where on the vine to cut them, and we're going to start cutting these back to approximately 2 buds each. We're going to count out, come back, and there it is. That's a little spur. As you do this, go ahead and toss these other canes aside. You want to get them out of the garden as soon as possible, just for good garden cleanup. And don't be afraid to abuse your plant. Cutting it back to 2 buds at this time of the year is a good thing to do. But if you're still a little leery about having it die off with frost, try to remember this. When you're looking at the shoot of a grape and frost comes, the ones that are the outermost from the plant are the ones that are going to die first. So if you want to hedge your bets, don't prune all the way down to 2 buds. This shoot goes all the way down here. Why don't you leave perhaps 10 buds on there and cut it off part way? Once you've done that, if we do get any more killing cold fronts that come through, it's going to be the ones at the top of the plant that die back. And then once those buds have broken open and started growing and you know they're alive, you can come back in and finish the job and take that right out. Don't be afraid to work this plant. You want to leave on each arm approximately 10 shoots with 2 buds each on each spur. Then when you want to look at further down on the trunk of the plant, we've got some shoots that are growing up. If your arms are at least 7 years old, you might want to leave these on the plant to train them to become new arms. But for the most part, they're just taking more energy out of the plant, and what we really want to do is cut those off to remove them. Again, grapes like to be abused. You can over prune them, but only by doing it at the wrong time of the year. Otherwise, taking these shoots off so that they don't steal energy from the plant is a great way to keep all the energy going in the direction that we want it. One thing to be aware of when you're pruning these grapes is that once you've made a pruning cut and the plant is starting to break dormancy, at every point that we've made the cut, sap is going to start to flow. These plants, they bleed a lot. Don't be alarmed. This is really normal. In many cases, you can just lightly taste the sap. You don't want to drink all of it, but you can taste the sugars in that plant and taste how healthy it is. But if it starts running over the next few days, please don't be worried about it. That plant will seal it off. Again, remember that vine is going to dry back. Once you're done pruning this, getting all of these off, the plant's going to look a lot different than when we got started. You can see here, we're taking off a lot of the shoots, but these new ones are the ones that produce the fruit. So leaving these older shoots on, they're not going to help us at all. So we want to get them off. It's a great way to spend a nice lunch hour. You just need to de-stress. You get out there with your pruners and you can just start wailing away on your plant. As you can see here, we're starting to really clean this up, and you can see how well the plant is starting to prune back. Doesn't take too long to do this plant, especially once you've been getting into the rhythm of doing this every year. And since we know we're cutting back to just 2 buds, there's not a lot of savvy in it. You're just out here cutting the plant back. Once you've got your plant mostly pruned up, you're ready to take a look at where these young shoots are going to grow so that you know as they start to break bud, you can train them to the wires or whatever type of trellis that you have. Thanks for stopping by. I'm Carol O'Mara, helping you to garden.